Hi there, welcome to the channel and the video. In this video, we're going to be rebuilding and modifying slightly uh, the FAQ section from the webpage OpenCraft. OpenCraft is a open source contributor, or they're a company that makes open source projects, especially in the field of education. I came across this website while browsing through the uh, job portal at weworkremotely.com, and I found this website quite interesting because there there are a lot of features in the website that seem really simple to replicate, but when we dive into it, we see it's actually really well designed, and there's a lot of work that went into it, and there's a lot of uh, complicated features that look really simplistic. So the idea for this video, or that this video will be part of a series of videos where I rebuild websites or features from websites, specific features. For this video, we'll be rebuilding the FAQ section. Okay, and what we will do is we will connect this to a backend, Python and Django backend, and we'll actually read the content of the frequently asked questions from the backend. Now, this might not be how OpenCraft does it. Frequently asked questions like this section is, uh, I would assume, uh, not quite often. Like the content in this section does not change quite often. So what might happen is they just hard coded the values or the data itself, and they don't read it from a backend. But we're going to be reading it from a Django backend just to demonstrate the the procedure or the technologies of and how to do it with a backend. So let's get started. I have a React. We're going to be doing this is in React. I have a Nextjs uh, project set up. Nextjs is a library that's built on React. It's really good for making static websites. Uh, so I have a project set up just displaying hello. If we go here, uh, if we start, sorry, just a minute. Yeah, if you go here, you can see it just says hello, and uh, let's get started. So we can see here that there's like two sections. First, the header, which says like the title, which says FAQs, and then like FAQ cards, which you can collapse and open, which has like the questions and their answers, like the frequently asked questions and their answers. So we're going to be rebuilding this part. We're going to aim to make it look similar, but we might try to uh, modify and experiment with things and see how different looks or different uh, maybe the padding or different features look when combined all together. So the final product might not look exactly the same. So let's get started. So we see, let's start with two divs. Let's start with the title first. If we keep it a container, name container, let's get MX auto, and we'll say text center, make it a span that says FAQS. So let's see how that looks. So we see our FAQs is centered. One thing I'm not going to do is change the font, like replicate the font, because I don't know what font is being used in this website, and I don't want to look at the developer tools to see and replicate it for us. Maybe at the end of the video, we'll have a look at the developer console and see what font is being used, and maybe we'll use it for our project. So it seems there's quite a bit of either padding or margin being applied. So let's go with margin and see how it looks. We'll go with margin of, let's say, my, let's say 24. That's a big one. Let's see how it looks compared to here. Uh, can't really say. Let's say this is. Let's enlarge the text. Let's say text 3XL. By the way, the CSS I'm using is Tailwind CSS. So these are all utility classes already defined with Tailwind. So let's get rid of the about section. This looks this looks like a margin is a bit more. Let's try a smaller margin. Let's try 20. That looks more like it. We're using the default font sans. If we go to the global CSS, we're using font sans. Even though the website is something else is being used. Maybe we'll change that at the end of the video. We're not really gonna focus on the font family, and in this video, maybe in a future video, we'll be focusing on really styling it and giving it all the, like, making sure all the nuantic differences make sense. And okay, let's look at how it looks. All right, so let's start building this job card section, this FAQ card section. So we'll say it's a div, right? We'll say container mx auto, mx auto. See how that works. So you can see the hello text here. Uh, let's give it a border so we can identify what's going on. You see the border here, and what it's doing is it has it's covering the whole screen, like the width is becoming the whole screen for small screens, but we see here there's a bit of gap here. So let's do that with padding. We'll apply it to the topmost div, UI6. Oh, sorry, this PX, my bad, PX6. All right, PX6, and there seems to be a bit of padding here as well, right? Um, and a bit of padding here. So, and it seems to be rounded. Right, so let's do the rounded first. Rounded, let's do LG. See, it's rounded. Let's give it a shadow. Shadow of SM, right? See, there's a bit of shadow here. Let's go ahead and do the padding now. Let's give it a padding of PX6. Let's try that. Let's give it a padding, vertical padding. Let's say EY. Let's let's try big number. Oh, that actually saves like quite big leap. Let's give it a smaller padding. Try 10. And that looks okay. Let's actually give it, make it another div. Let's say hello, hello. And for this one, we'll give it a class name of border, border D. So for last element, it'll have a border B, right? And let's give it a, let's try that out first. We can see the two borders are actually, this inner border is a darker color. So let's give it the border of that border gray. To 600. That's actually too dark. Let's do 400. 400. This is still a bit too dark. 300. 300 looks okay. Right? 300 looks okay. Let's for, for this one, let's give it a border of 200. Right? And let's give it a vertical padding. Let's say dy equals 10. Let's try 10. That's way too big. Let's go down a bit. Let's go by half. 5. Let's try half of previous value. That looks okay. And now we can see it's slowly turning into somewhat this design. See that the bottom margin here is actually smaller. If we move, like if we change tabs, you can see this one is slightly raised than this one. Uh, I think we'll keep it like that for now. And it's slightly more rounded, so make it, just change the rounded to rounded XL. Right. I think that looks, the rounded part looks okay now. Right. For this from blue, let's give it a different color. Um, for this one, see we see it's way too dark. So let's make it a darker gray color. Text gray. Let's try 800. Now now this one's so dark, so let's try 900. That looks somewhat okay. I have a font family which is uh, which has a slightly thinner text, but since we don't know the font family, I'm not gonna change the text font here because making it thinner will make it way too thin without changing the font family. So let's just go ahead and continue with this one. So it seems like it's a flex element, right? It's a flex element where we have the question and the icon SVG, and then down here we have answers for the question. All right, let's do that. Instead of hello, it says if say class name X by green items center, right? And we'll say the first one is this first one is the question. So let's say what will I be doing? A question like that here. What will I be doing if I join? So that what will I be doing if I join? Eventually, we're going to be reading this question from a backend, even though OpenCraft themselves might not do it, but we're just going to do it for the purpose of demonstration in the video. Uh, what will I be doing? So, see, they have a larger font. So let's do font medium. Let's try that. Let's do text. Um, Excel. Will that be too large? Somewhat like it. What about LG? That looks more like it. All right. And then after that, we'll have the SVG. So let's actually get a SVG from Hero Icons. Search the first one. Copy JSX. Like this. Go here. Right. Let's try with height 6 first. Height 6 with 6. So if we go here, we have a icon. But this icon seems to be bigger than this icon. So also the text here is a grayish color, whereas this one is just black. It seems like so. Let's do text gray 900. Text gray 900. 900 for this. We'll say text black, and we'll make it a bit larger. This looks like it, more like it, right? All right. So from here, uh, we have our flex item. So we'll move on to making the answer section, the answer part now. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just let's just copy the answer from here. We'll not copy the whole thing, just a little bit, right? Go back, and this is how it looks. So You can see that there's a margin or padding here, right? Let's do padding. There's a padding here, and the text is a gray color, and also the line height is a bit more than this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's try class name text gray 500. That looks okay. So let's go ahead and add the padding UI 5. That looks okay too. What? Right. Let's increase the line height a bit. Let's say leading relaxed. Okay. Let's try to let's see if we can decrease the font size without making it look too bad. Font normal. Not that's too thin. We have to change the font family for that. Maybe we'll do that later on. For this video, I just want to focus on making it look somewhat similar, and then uh, uh, hopefully in future videos we'll read it from a Python backend, and then after that we'll really focus on the nuances of the design and make it look like uh, real good or somewhat similar here. All right, I'm okay with that, even though this the font thing is really bothering me. The font family, and we do. Just keep it like that for now. Also, the height here is a bit raised in this one, right? I think let's do a quick fix for that. We'll just move it up using negative margin, even though this is probably not how it's done, but just to make it, let's do 3. Oh no, what's ML? No, empty, my bad. Let me put this now. It's almost the same, right? I think we'll go with that. Should I? Let's make this color a bit more lighter. Let's see how it looks. That's way too light. We'll go back to 500. All right. Uh, Looks somewhat similar. All right. Let's go ahead and replicate this. Let's make this hidden. We're going to be using the React states to toggle this, but for now, let's make this hidden. There we have it. There we have the hidden ones. Now let's replicate this for a couple of times. Get this a couple of times. All right, this looks good, right? Looks good. Doesn't look bad at all. Let's go back. All right. So now let's read it from. For now, let's read it from a variable, a list variable. All right. Let's say const the queue list equals to this, and inside there will be objects that will have the question and the answer, right? So if that's called FAQ question. We'll say what will I do if I join? Let's make the answer, FAQ answer. So the answer is you will work on open source projects, right? Let's replicate this and we're going to be using the states. We're going to be dynamically loading this value, right? So this is the section title, right? And here is the, let's call it FAQ cards, right? So the part we want to here, right? So let's say FAQ list dot map. Let's say FAQ, right? Let's say, all right, my bad. The whole thing goes inside the brackets. So FAQ list dot map. Let's say, right, and here it's FAQ, and we'll also get the index. So now let's move this inside here, right? That's an error. What's the error? Missing key prop, right? So let's give it a key prop. Key equals to index. Right, for now we'll just say index. So save it, put it, see if it's working correctly. Right, now let's change the text here to q dot question, and here to q dot answer. Right, let's remove the hidden for now. Let's say it's working correctly. Let's add the hidden back in. All right, looks good. Now let's use uh, React states to toggle between the parts. Let's go back here. Let's say we want call is open, and another const is open, set is open equals to use state, right? This will initial value would be -1, right? Then uh, to make it collapsible, we need to set is open when sorry, my bad. We need to set it this is open when this part is clicked. So to make this part clicky like this here, I think we have to change it to a button, right? So let's go ahead and do that and change this part to a button, which is this button. Is it moved? Yeah. And we say it's type button. And now we see what's happening here is uh, everything is collapsing into, wait, there's no space in between. So to do that, let's give the button uh, width 4, right? So that worked, right? And now we can say we can click on it. So let's say on click, we want to set is open. Not that. Set is open. Is open to uh, the index, right? For now, just let's uh, print the index here. Let's just say uh, is open, is open. We go here. By default, oh no, we're doing it wrong. It's not going to be an answer. We have to do it here. So when we do this, you see by default it's 0. If I refresh it, it's negative. By default it's -1, and when I click it, I get the index, right? So after setting the index, we can here, instead of doing this, let's move this, and right here, or at the very beginning, we say um, is open equals index. Then we want to set it to block. If not, we have to set it to hidden, right? Let's go ahead and do that. So you see here, so now it's working, right? As you can see, the state changes and the card opens up. So let's just get rid of this number here, right? And let's make it by default to be 0. By default to be 0, right? Refresh it. This is open by default and we can change. Now one thing we cannot do is close a tab if it's already open, close a card if it's already open. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do it here. So we'll say uh, if is open equal index, then we'll set it to -1, else we'll set it to index, right? So this should make the card collapsible. So now we can collapse it and open it, right? So let's refresh and see what happens. So by default it's open, we can close it, we can change the card. Alright, so let's see how it looks compared to, right? So one thing is that the icon changes when we go to uh, when we open the card. For us, it doesn't change. So let's go ahead and do that. Get the minus icon from hero icons. Minus JSX, and we'll say is open, we call it index, then we want one SVG, we want one SVG. If not, we want another one, right? So if it's not open, we want the plus one. Let's go ahead and move the plus here. And if it's open, we want minus one. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's copy this class name here, save it, and just refresh. Right. See, when it's open, we have minus, and if we close it, we'll have plus. Right, so that works. One thing is that when we open or close here, you see there's a transition, a smooth transition. Uh, we'll not be focusing on that on this video. Maybe in the future video, in the video where we'll focus on the specific details. We'll focus on every specific detail. We'll work on the transition on that video. But for this video, we'll just keep it till here as far as the design, and then uh, we'll first get a demo up and running, like uh, loading it from the back end using Django. So this looks good for now. Let's see what happens if we become uh, responsive. If we change it a bit, if we just align it first. So you can see uh, the title immediately becomes bigger, which will not be for our case. It's still small, and you can see the padding here increases, but for us it doesn't. And if we go even bigger, you see the padding here it doesn't, and for them it will, right? So let's go full screen, right? Uh, they have way more space here than we do, and for larger screens, their text is much bigger than ours. So we'll not focus on that in this video. Like I mentioned, we'll focus on it in a future video. For now, let's just make this card to have a maximum limit. We'll say which part was it? Is it this one? Yeah. We'll say max W. Let's set it to 5XL. Now it's much more smaller, right? That looks good. I think we can change it, right? Right. I'll keep this video. I'll till this part. I'll keep this video till this part, and in future videos, we'll implement a backend, and instead of iterating from a variable, a list variable, will use props, and this part will be like we'll fetch it from our backend API and pass it to the component using props. So maybe that will be another video, and on the third video, we'll focus on the specific design details. So, all right, I think I'll end this video till here. I'll keep this video till here, and please do leave a comment if you uh, providing me any feedback. Tell me if you liked it or not, and yeah, feedback is always appreciated. appreciate it. This is my first time making this kind of videos, so, and I hope you like it.